So you're looking to make honey, biofuel, or perhaps just beehives. Or maybe you're just looking for information about bee jars. Doesn't matter which one it is because I'm gonna go over all of it from the beginning to the end. So stick around because I'll show you how. So before you get started, there's actually a number of steps that you need to take before you can start making your own beehives, craft honey, or whatever it is you're looking to do. And it's gonna be a little bit more than just one simple unlock kind of a trick. There's actually a few steps that you need to take, and the first is you need to progress your story to Balboa Island before you can even start harvesting honeycomb from the beehives you find in the world, or snatching bees out of the air for bee jars, and that's because you're only gonna find these items in the evergreen biomes. Now, the evergreen biome is made up of islands located near and around Balboa Island as well as Varuna Point. And before you go ask yourself, yes, Balboa Island is itself an evergreen island, and you will find honeycomb and bees here. You'll also find bears, so watch yourself. And just in case, when you're sitting there scratching your head, how will I know I'm on an evergreen island? Well, it's simple. Islands within the evergreen biome will stand out by having lots of trees in different kinds of colors and sizes, as well as cuttable pine and birch. Whereas previously, your large islands did not have cuttable pine and birch trees available. There also wasn't a bear there. You'll find bears on the Evergreen Islands. Okay, so now that we know where we can find bees and hives, we need to know what we need to research as well as what we need to bring so that we can get what we need so we can do what we want to do. So let's quickly go over the short list of items you will need to research before you can do anything. So head over to your research table and start researching. First, you're going to need to research a plank, vine goo, which you can get from the seaweed at the bottom of the ocean and throw it into your forge and melt it down into vine goo. You're going to need to research a rope and a bolt that you can make from a metal ingot. Oh, and you'll eventually need some glass, so you might as well scoop some sand off the bottom of the ocean floor and melt it down. Then top it off by tossing the newly made glass into your research table. Now later, once you've actually gotten bee jars and honeycomb, you'll need to toss one of each into the research table to unlock the final blueprints you'll need, namely honey and beehives. Once you've researched everything on the list and you've found an evergreen island, it's time to craft your Sweepnet. Sweepnet is the only way you'll be able to catch bees, and you should have it unlocked if you followed this guide correctly. So craft it, and don't forget to grab your weapons on the way out the door because you're gonna need them for the bears. So evergreen islands usually have at least one bear on them, and you're gonna have to deal with them because they're usually hanging out around the honey. I know it's a big shock, but don't worry about it because it's easy to deal with. So the bear's pattern is to charge a short distance and then swipe his claw in an attack. So before he charges, after he swipes his claw in the attack, you attack him with your weapon, which will stop his charge and he will attack. Dodge his claw swipe by just backing away, wait for it to pass, and then attack again, repeating the process until he's dead, kind of like what I'm doing here. Once he's dead, get to harvesting. Look for the bee swarms around fallen logs and tree stumps and head in that direction. And using your Sweepnet, harvest the bee swarms for bee jars. Just remember to research one if you haven't done so already. And each island will typically have around 3 to 6 natural beehives harvestable for honeycomb and 3 to 5 bee swarms that you can harvest for bee jars. Each swarm will give you about 5 bee jars, so you're going to need at least 3 bee swarms plus 1 to research in order to make your first beehive. Hopefully you're still here, you haven't clicked away from the video, and don't go tossing your hives down just anywhere just yet. There's still a few rules that you're going to want to know about before you go wasting all your resources. I know it seems like a lot. The first is you can't just place it anywhere. I mean, you could, but you're going to want to place it near flowers, of course, and the amount of flowers that you have near your player created beehives directly affect how much honeycomb you can harvest every 8 minutes. So for instance, 1 to 5 flowers near a hive will give the player 1 honeycomb every 8 minutes, whereas 6 to 11 flowers will give the player 2 honeycomb every 8 minutes, and 12 plus gives the maximum 3 honeycomb per hive every 8 minutes. I would say get creative here, but just to demonstrate what I mean, your flowers don't actually need to be as close to your hives as mine are here, but you get the point I'm making. Just don't copy this design because, guys, it's ugly. Just get creative. I'm sure you can do much better than me. Now, from this point on, you can find, harvest, produce your own honeycomb for honey, which can be used for things like biofuel and good healing salve. If you found this guide useful, hit that like button, and if you have your own tips and tricks, leave them down below so we can all benefit from them. I'm Granddaddy Gamer, and I'll see you guys in the next.